So this week we're going to tour Columbia Falls, Montana. Right now Columbia Falls has a population of just under 6,000 people, and it's really grown a bunch over the last few years. Mainly it's getting all the overflow from whitefish, and it's a beautiful town located on the Flathead River, as you can see behind me. It's also right at the entrance of the canyon to get up to Glacier National Park. And you'll see a lot of new construction around town. There's a big new lodge, bunch of new restaurants downtown, some new condos downtown. There's even a new school. So let's go take a tour and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we'll start our tour up here on the north end of Columbia Falls, and this is actually the north end of Meadow Lake Resort. This is the new subdivision up there called Mountain Watch, and Meadow Lake is a huge complex. It's an 18-hole golf course, and then in the middle of it, it has a giant clubhouse with a restaurant, spa. They have pools, and we'll look at that here in a minute, but there's there's little neighborhoods all the way around the golf course. This Mountain Watch here, this just happens to be the newest one, and so you see a lot of the bigger, more modern type homes up here. These are a little more expensive, obviously, because they're the newest homes in the neighborhood. Most of them are custom homes. And this neighborhood has not been built out yet, so you'll still see a lot of lots come up for sale in here. And a lot of people are building spec homes and selling them up here. But then once you come out of the north end or come out of Mountain Watch, you go down into this is the original part of Meadow Lake, and there's still new construction going on here, as you can see. And these homes border the golf course. That Mountain Watch, some of the homes are along some holes, but there's trees. You don't have the house right on the course like you see at a lot of courses, or on the south end of Meadow Lake. The homes in Mountain Watch are kind of hidden up in the woods, and again, makes it a little more private, a little more desirable. And if you want to be on the golf course, then you need to come down here in this original side of Meadow Lake. So this is the main entrance here that you access Meadow Lake, or most people access Meadow Lake from. And up here on the left will be the main clubhouse, and then hole 18 comes in right behind there, and this is where the rental offices are, the golf pro shop, the spa, the restaurant is in there. Again, the hub, kind of the main part of Meadow Lake right here. And then as we tour around, we'll come into some of the original neighborhoods. These are the homes that have been here the longest, and they are right along number 8 and 9 of the golf course there. And then over on the right side of the road that you can't see from this view are all the timeshares. They have tons of timeshares at Meadow Lake right now. In fact, when I was looking up the real estate stats for Columbia Falls, there were over 100 timeshares available at Meadow Lake. So if you're looking for a timeshare, there's plenty available there, and they're actually pretty cheap. If you're into timeshares, it's probably something you should check out, because like I said, Meadow Lake is a popular course, especially with the Canadians. There's a ton of Canadian owners in here, and they play golf all the time and use the clubhouse. Everybody does, and it's kind of a fun little club, and it's a hop-in place on the weekends. So in between Meadow Lake and the town of Columbia Falls, you'll see this big lumber mill, and this is part of what made Columbia Falls into the town it has become. There was also a big aluminum plant that I've done other videos on that's now closed down further east from the lumber mill here, but this is still in operation. They make MDF, or medium density fiberboard, it's called, and it's the longest running fiberboard plant in the country. And it's owned by Weyerhaeuser. It used to be Plum Creek, but they were bought out a few years ago by Weyerhaeuser. But it's just amazing, all the timber that's hauled in here and the amount of product that they produce out of this one plant. In fact, there's a railroad spur that goes right through here, and they're constantly loading up train cars. And this huge pile of sawdust that you see here is the byproduct of all the work they do in here. But it's an interesting place, and it definitely employs a lot of local people here in Columbia Falls. So once you get past the lumber mill and you continue along the north side of town, you'll be on a road that takes you up the North Fork, it's called, and this goes all the way to the Canadian border, and it accesses the river up there. There's a bunch of boat landings, and you can get to Pull Bridge, and this is the main route everybody uses in the summertime for recreation and to access the North Fork. And you can get into the backside of Glacier Park going this direction as well. But there's homes that go all the way up to the Canadian border. Once you get about 12 miles out of town, everything's off grid. But before that, there's power and everything. There's a nice subdivision a little further up the road. So just another great part of Columbia Falls. So now we'll head down Nucleus Avenue, which is Main Street, if you want to call it that, right through the middle of town. And Columbia Falls, like I said, was kind of the blue-collar town of the valley for years and years and years. It had all the big industries up here. But now, because we're getting all the spillover from the overflow from Whitefish, there's been a lot of new construction. As you can see here on the left, these are new condos, new storefronts, a new bar right here, the Gunside Saloon. Great place in the summer, by the way, to watch outdoor music. But right here now you see some more brand new condos and restaurants. And Columbia Falls has definitely changed even since I started making videos. None of this was here back in the day. But as we continue a little further down, you'll see some of the older storefronts are still in existence. It hasn't all been changed yet, but it's definitely been upgraded and a lot of new things put into Columbia Falls. And just like I said, they're getting all the overflow from Whitefish. And as far as newer subdivisions go, this is called Cedar Point, and it's fairly new now. It's been around for a little while. I've done videos on this in the past, and it's kind of all built up at this point. I think there might be 1 or 2 lots left in here, but this is a nice spot. It's to the south of the downtown, and it's right along the river, which is over here to the right. You can kind of see it here, and I'll show it to you more in a second, but beautiful little low area in town. You can walk downtown. You can obviously walk to the river. And again, all the homes in here are fairly new and custom homes, and some very nice homes in here. There's also a trail that goes around the community and along the river here. And because of the location and the quality of homes and being right on the river, it's turned into one of the more popular neighborhoods here in Columbia Falls. And right down the road from that subdivision, I mentioned this in the intro a little bit, this is the Cedar Creek Lodge, and this was built probably 6 or 7 years ago now, but it was the kind of the first thing that started all this growth. And it's a big lodge, nice lodge, and pretty popular spot here in Columbia Falls. And as far as schools go here in Columbia Falls, you have everything. You have the high school here. This is actually the oldest of all the buildings you're going to see. And it's located in the original residential section of Columbia Falls. So this high school, Columbia Falls, is known for, they're very good in sports. They've won, since I've been around, they've won in state tournament in football, basketball numerous times. They have a great speech and debate team. They're really good at soccer. They're good at everything here. And because of the location, it actually takes kids from as far away as Essex as you head towards East Glacier, because there's nothing else in between here. This is one of the 2 elementary schools in town. This is Reuter Elementary, and it's located fairly close to the high school in the original part of town, but this school's been updated as well. And then you have the middle school, which is a little further to the west, and this is a fairly new building, and it's a very nice middle school. And that brings us to the last elementary school that just was completed this past year, and it's a very nice building, and it's kind of over by the lumber mill. It's called Glacier Gateway Elementary School. And again, just there's a lot of kids that go to school in Columbia Falls. The reason they have 2 elementaries and a big middle school, so they do serve a lot of people. But from what I've been told, all the schools are very good, and I haven't talked to anybody that hasn't been happy with the education that their kids have received at any of these schools over here in Columbia Falls. So as we finish up our tour, I'm going to take you through two different subdivisions here. It's kind of a newer one over here to the left, and when I say new, within the last 20 years, and then we're going to continue around and get into some of the older homes, and this goes down along the river. And after that, we'll go out to the newest subdivision, which is called the Benches, that is in the process of being built out, and it's just outside of town as you head up towards Glacier Park. But with that, let's go over the current real estate situation in Columbia Falls. Right at this moment, there are 49 homes that are currently for sale in the Columbia Falls area, and they range in price from $240,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 896-foot condo, all the way up to $5 million for a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 4,789 square foot house that sits on 48 acres, obviously outside of town. As far as the homes that have sold in Columbia Falls over the past year, there were 129 sales, and they ranged from a sale that was a house that was listed for $285,000, which was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 816-foot condo, all the way up to a home that was listed for $4.7 million, that was a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom home, 5,388 square feet on 7.9 acres. As far as land goes around Columbia Falls, currently there's 38 properties listed for sale, and they range in price from $150,000 for a 0.26 acre lot, all the way up to $4 million for a 160 acre lot that's located up the North Fork where I showed you earlier. And as far as lots that have sold, there were 44 lots that have sold in Columbia Falls, and they ranged in price from a lot that was listed at $96,000 that was 0.59 of an acre, all the way up to $1.7 million for 38.5 acres that was also up the North Fork. So as you can see, Columbia Falls has definitely grown since the last time we did a tour here, and it continues to grow. And if you're looking for a new house, there's plenty to be had, and there's these new subdivisions popping up. So it's really turning into a nice town and pretty desirable town, and the prices are showing that. So if you'd like more information on any of the homes around Columbia Falls or any property that's for sale, let me know and I'll send it right over to you.
Thank you for watching our video. Please call, text, or email for more information, and don't forget to watch our other videos about Montana.